Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this special edition of the Feuerstein's American Soccer Show. As we're going to review the second round of the 2026 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Once again, you can follow me and all the writers over at Beyond the 90, at beyondthe90.substack.com, locally for New York Soccer over at baddogsports.com. Chat room here on YouTube is open. If you have a question for me, I'll try to answer the best of my ability. You can talk amongst yourselves if you like. Please don't forget to subscribe here for your daily American soccer content. As we get ready to review this second round, here are those matches from round two, as we are here to show you on this show amazing stuff. Pittsburgh Riverhounds easily defeating Virginia Dream 2-0. Asheville City SC and one Knoxville SC in a wild one. A 1-1 draw through regulation and extra time. And of course, this thing ended in penalties 3-2 for Knoxville. And Naples defeating, FC Naples defeating America, the FC America, CFL Spurs 3-0. Indy 11 losing at home to Union Omaha by 1-2. Charlotte Independence edges Charleston Battery 3-2 after extra time. Valley 559 FC gets destroyed by Sacramento Republic, 0-4. Chattanooga FC 1, Tennessee Tempo 0. We have Richmond Kickers 1, Loudoun United 0. Rhode Island FC 2, Hartford Athletic 0. It was a scoreless draw through regulation and extra time between Vermont Green and Westchester SC, but it went 6 rounds in the penalty kick shootout. 4-3 for Westchester on the road. Lexington SC 0, Louisville City 2. Flint City Bucks 0, Detroit City FC 1. We have Colorado Springs Switchbacks and Spokane Velocity 1-1 through regulation and extra time. And just give me one moment, folks. I'll be right back as soon as possible. And I'm back, folks. Phone was ringing. I had to go pick that up. A very important phone call that I had to take care of. So I apologize about that, but important phone call popped up real quick, and I had to take it. So I apologize about that. But anyway, back to these games once again. Lexington SC 0, Louisville City 2, Flint City Bucks 0, Detroit City FC 1. A 1-1 draw through regulation and extra time between Colorado Springs Switchbacks and Spokane Velocity. But in the shootout, it was 4-2 Colorado Springs. San Antonio FC 0, FC Tulsa 1 in extra time. New Mexico United 0, El Paso Locomotive 4. And finally, Orange County SC 1, Phoenix Rising 2. That was also in extra time. So we had some great matches in round two for the U.S. Open Cup. Every game, every round, something exciting happens in the Open Cup. And what can you say? You have a lot of fun watching these games, the Davids facing the Goliaths, and when they meet together and how far it goes, it's just amazing to watch. And once again, you can watch every single match of every single round streaming live on Paramount Plus. You'll have a game or two on either CBS Sports Network or CBS Sports Golazo Network. And they have done an amazing job over at the desk. Haley Sutton, Tony Miola, Jimmy Conrad, Mike Grella, also Charlie Davies. It's just been amazing, the work that CBS puts into these games, and it's just wonderful to watch. Now, if we watched, or if you've watched or my video on Beyond the 90, read my article on Beyond the 90, this past Tuesday on March the 31st was the back end of the international break for the international calendar of March. The U.S. men's national team was hosting Portugal in Atlanta, Georgia at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So on the same day, on Tuesday, March 31st, match day 1 of round 2 of the U.S. Open Cup was played, while our boys were facing Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal on the pitch at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And once again, U.S. soccer continues to mess this whole thing up. They flub what they're supposed to do. I understand it's a World Cup year. I understand that they're trying to jam everything into one big package, and then you take the World Cup break, and then we get to the semifinals and the final after the World Cup. But, you know, when you have the U.S. men's national team playing, where are most of the eyeballs going to pay attention to? Atlanta, TNT Sports. Why is it U.S. soccer continues to just not get out of their own way? How is it possible that U.S. soccer continues to mess these things up when it should not be happening? Because you lose the country when everyone's watching the men's national team, or even if it's a women's national team match. You cannot have Open Cup games while our national team plays their matches, whether it is a friendly, a World Cup qualifier, or even a World Cup game itself. Can't do that. Or it's even a Gold Cup or a Nations League. You cannot allow that to happen. And when that happens, once again, everyone questions U.S. soccer. Do you really care about your own product? Do you really care about the Open Cup? You said you do. You wanted everything to come together nicely. You said that you want to bring more importance to this Open Cup tournament. I'm here for it. We're all here for it. But when there's no communication between departments, or the federation is just saying, yeah, we'll just throw it in there and then we'll just see what happens. I mean, look, we have a second match day. It's not a big deal. It's on Wednesday, April the 1st, you know, whatever. No, it's not whatever. It's not whatever. The U.S. Open Cup matters just like the men's national team matters, just like the women's national team matters. Do they not understand that everything is into one big package? You care about the game in this country. Let's just say for the heck of it, okay? And I'm just making this thing up. Obviously, there's different international calendars for the women's national teams and the men's national teams across the globe by FIFA. And I'm happy to see FIFA do that. But when you are the governing body of the game in this country or in any country around the world, why is it when you go to England and it's an FA Cup match, it doesn't interfere with the international window? It doesn't. And it should not matter. It should not matter if, there's no MLS clubs in round 2 or in round 1. That's not the point. The point is, those clubs deserve to have all the eyeballs on them. Pittsburgh Riverhounds, Virginia Dream, Asheville City SC, One Knoxville SC, Sacramento Republic, Valley 559 FC. These clubs who are battling for the national championship of the game in this country have the damn right to have the country pay attention to them, watch them take on one of the best clubs in either USL Championship, USL League One, and go out there and give it their all. That's what this cup competition's about. Why is it every time we all run to ESPN Plus? Why is it that everyone watches ESPN and they're excited to watch the FA Cup? I'm excited. I'm happy. I want to see action from England, or if it's the Coppa Italia from Italy, the Copa del Rey in Spain, the Coupe de France in France, you know, the Pokal Cup, the DFB Pokal Cup. You know, you want to watch these cup competitions. You want to watch these minnows face the giants and knock them out. How can you do that when everyone's watching our guys battling against Portugal? How? You know, it's understandable if you're upset with MLS not putting all 27 American clubs in the Open Cup. I'm not happy about it either. But when U.S. Soccer doesn't do what they're supposed to do, that's a problem. It's a major problem. I just don't understand why they can't get out of their own way. Why can't U.S. Soccer understand that putting a match day of the second round on that Tuesday while our boys are battling against Portugal, why is that necessary? That shouldn't even be, a thought. That should be saying, no, we can't play these games on Tuesday, March 31st. So here's what the schedule was. Tuesday, March 31st, match day 1 of the second round. Wednesday, April the 1st, match day 2 of the second round. Thursday, April the 2nd, on Morning Footy, the draw for round 3 proper of the U.S. Open Cup, and the 16 MLS clubs enter the fray. Why does it have to be like that? Why couldn't it be Tuesday, March 31st, USA versus Portugal? That's it. Wednesday, April the 1st, match day 1 of the U.S. Open Cup second round. Thursday, April the 2nd, match day 2 of the second round of the Open Cup. Friday, April the 3rd, third round draw of the U.S. Open Cup on Morning Footy at 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific. I mean, I think it's as simple as that, isn't it? You're just moving the dates and the match days and the draw one day later. That's all I'm asking for. Make it make sense. Can we try and make it, can we try to make it make sense? Can we? This is just ridiculous. This is just terrible. We can't have this. But, look, I don't work at U.S. Soccer. Sometimes I wish I did work at U.S. Soccer. Sometimes I wish I would work at the Open Cup committee. And I would say to them, if we're going to condense the schedule for 2026, here's what we need to do. And we have to pay attention to what goes on with other matches involving our national teams. We have to pay attention to these things. Because if you don't, then what happens? Well, while everyone's watching Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie, Matt Freese, Patrick Ajimong, which sounds like he's injured right now. Hopefully it's not too bad and he'll be ready for the World Cup. We'll see if he does get picked. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. But seriously, you're taking eyeballs away from 6 matches, 12 clubs, 2 clubs per match from match day 1. You got to sit with Cindy Parlow-Cone. You got to say to her, we have to move match day 1 and match day 2 from Tuesday, Wednesday to a Wednesday, Thursday situation. Well, why is that? Why do we have to do that? Because you guys, because our guys are playing against Portugal on Tuesday, March 31st in Atlanta. We're going to lose eyeballs for match day 1, and we can't have that. We must have everyone pay attention to the Open Cup for match day 1 on Wednesday, April the 1st, so that everyone can watch our guys on Tuesday, while we'll have everyone watch our matches on Wednesday and Thursday. And then we'll do the draw on Friday. Is that a good job? Yes, that's a great job. Great idea. Let's move on with that. But no, can't have that. And look, I'm not mad they condensed the schedule. I'm not, to be honest with you. I understand why they did it. Because the majority of the windows of this upcoming summer is going to be towards the World Cup, and they don't want to lose eyeballs on it. And that's the right thing to do. That's absolutely the right thing to do. So, with the World Cup coming this summer and no Open Cup match days in June or July, I'm not upset. I'm not mad. Okay, I understand they had to take away the 5th round, but as long as they put it back for 2027-28, depending on what happens with USL, if they do ever go towards the international calendar like MLS is doing, then I think it works out for everybody in the Open Cup. Because what we need right now, what we really need right now is to make sure everything is working perfectly all across the board. And once again, if you read my writings over at Beyond the 90, head over there, search my name, search for U.S. Open Cup articles. They'll pop up in the search bar, and you'll see what I'm trying to do. Because, look, I understand it's not going to be like how it should be with a straight blind draw per rounds, whatever. Do it through the English FA style or do it through, the German FA style, the whatever. We have to understand that while we do want to have it in a blind draw, we have to keep it regional, and I think that's the best thing to do it. You can influence it and, combine the formation of the draw and the procedures of these draws, and you can do it per region if you want, which is what I've said. We're going to have East region, South region, Central region, West region, and you can set it up in many different ways. And you could have a full day of this live streaming on Paramount Plus, on CB Sports Galazo Network. You can have basically the draw pot, the huge draw pot, and you can still do numerical numbers drop them inside the pots, and then do the mixing. One team for home, one team for road. You can still do, if a team can't host, they'll inform you so they can automatically go to the away side of the draw pot. So, I think that's a brilliant idea. I think it's a great idea. And you just have to wait and see if, hopefully, U.S. Soccer will do this. And let me just say this, and I want to give credit to David Applegate, first things first, the commissioner of the Open Cup. David has done an amazing job. I know he's doing everything he can within his power to make sure that the Open Cup is what it is. David Applegate has been a tremendous help to keeping the Open Cup viable and important. Every time he goes on morning footy for the draws, David has been sensational, absolutely sensational. I have no problems with David Applegate. David's a great guy. I know David personally. I wouldn't say I know David personally, but whenever I've spoken with David, he's always been nice. He's always been a great guy. David Applegate is definitely, hands down, the best guy to run the Open Cup. He really does an awesome job. And if anyone ever sees him, let's just tell him, Dave, you do an awesome job with the Open Cup. And you can tell him I said so. Daniel Feuerstein said so. Because David's doing a tremendous job with what's going on. But once again, I just believe that, certain things cannot happen. And like I said, David's doing the best job he can. I understand sometimes it's difficult, but, look, at least David is showing what he is trying to do to make this cup competition important. That's why this show is here, to do that for the Open Cup. That's why I try to invite these clubs below MLS to come on here and talk about being in the Open Cup and the victories they have. Especially, remember, I've had on, of course, the Kalanji family when their son scored that goal for Kalanji Pro Profile at Chattanooga FC in the 14th minute. A 14-year-old scoring in the modern era. That's the youngest goal scorer in the modern era of the U.S. Open Cup. And he made history. So, go back to my shows and take a look, and you'll see, great job there by the head coach and dad, Bruno Kalanji. And hopefully they'll go back into the Open Cup for next year through the qualification cycle, or hopefully they'll win the spring season championship and they'll automatically qualify. So we'll see what happens there. But once again, this was just unbelievable. This was exciting. This was a lot of fun. And once again, this is what the Open Cup is about. Fun stuff. And that's all you can really say or do. We're going to have my first guest on a little later tonight, but let's go ahead and recap some of these matches that we've seen. Now, I want to go I want to go to this one first because, for goodness sakes, what a match that was. What an unbelievable match that was between Asheville City SC and one Knoxville SC. I mean, look at this. Unbelievable. It's really amazing to watch a match like that. You've got Asheville City SC from USL League 2 taking on one of the Goliaths of in this round, one Knoxville SC. And just amazing stuff when you watch this match. You're thinking to yourself that this is like, you couldn't believe the amount of pressure both clubs were on, but the yellow cards were flying, the red cards came out, and you see one Knoxville down to 9 men in this matchup. down to 9 men. How is that possible? Obviously, double yellowed. Red card came later. Stavros Zarakostas and Teddy Baker out of the game, goes into extra time. Nothing happens in extra time. And then Asheville loses Johnny Fenwick in second half stoppage time of extra time. And then, unbelievable. And it goes to penalty kick shootout. And then, it's 1-1. Actually, excuse me, it's scoreless in the first round. Asheville takes the lead 1-0 by Ryan Flood. Jordan Skelton makes it 1-1. Ashton Billow makes it 2-1. And then Eli Conway makes it 2-2. And that's 3 rounds. And then you get to the 4th round. Rai Pinto gets stopped. Steven Cordova scores to make it 3-2. And it's Ryan Holmes' turn to try and extend it. And great goalkeeping from one Knoxville's Jonathan Burke. Amazing goalkeeping from him. And he puts one Knoxville into the 3rd round. I mean, what can you say about that matchup? I'm on my chair. I'm on like my toes, sitting in my chair, and on my computer. Game here. I've got Galazzo Network down here. This is like my monitor. This is my computer monitor because I'm trying to make sure that I have everything in front of me. I got like a game here, got a game there. I have Galazzo Network down here, and then over here I have Twitter, so I can keep things going. Tell everyone what's going on. And here on my TV, obviously, I have streaming apps through my provider. And not just that, but Asheville City SC and one Knoxville was on CBS Sports Network. So I'm able to watch the game here on my TV, right here on my TV. Well, I'm at South Florida now, so it's Breeze Line here in South Florida. So I'd be like, if you're in South Florida, it's channel 144. Check your local listings for CBS Sports Network. Obviously, it's great to have them broadcasting a game. Hopefully, CBS National will step up and show some games down the road. Until then, I'm not worried, but we'll see what happens. But still, though, I would love to see it on CBS National for the final of the Open Cup, like they have done it for the UEFA Champions League. So we'll see with that whenever that happens. But I have the game here, and look, I have a perfect. This is obviously my webcam. I have a perfect. I'm looking up. There's the game up there. Look here. I look up there. It's perfect. I have it all nice and set up here. My hub. I wouldn't say it's a man cave, but at least it's my corner, you might say, of the office. And yes, and you can see here that little walkway. You see right there, like that's the closet. That goes to the kitchen, and that I can get a drink or get some snacks while I have time somewhere around here if I can get that done. Obviously, if not, I have to hurry up and make sure I grab what I can grab, or else I have to grab it before things start. But look, Asheville City and one Knoxville gave it a great game. That gave it a go, and it was absolutely fantastic. Once again, just amazing work and all the cards flying out. And I thought the referee did an excellent job as well in this one, making sure that everything was all copacetic, everything was all nicely done, tightly wrapped. Fantastic stuff. And, once again, one Knoxville, they held on, got to the penalty kick shootout after, regulation, after extra time, went straight into the penalties, and they take it 2-3 for one Knoxville SC beating Asheville City SC. And it was just tremendous, absolutely tremendous by them. The USL League One side goes to the 3rd round, and it should be really a doozy for them. It really should be. So can't wait to see what's going to happen, obviously. But, we'll wait and see what how it's going to play out when we get to the third round, and we'll get to that towards the back end of the show. But absolutely, it was a fantastic, fantastic Open Cup matches. We never got to the penalty kick shootout in the first round. I think we got about to maybe 3 or 4, I believe. I think closer to 3. I think we had 3 matches that ended in the penalty kick shootout, but any matches that went into the extra time session went about, I would think it was one. I know the one between Sacramento Republic and El Farolito. I think we had about 3 or 4. Don't quote me on that one. I could be wrong, but I know we had at least a bunch that went into extra time. I know a couple ended in regulation. One goal, one winner in extra time, in the stoppage time, I should say. Second half stoppage time. And I think that was Richmond Kickers defeating Loudoun United. So that was tremendous to watch as well. And how about another barn burner, you might say? Not really a lot of goals, unfortunately, but still, though, when you got USL League 2 side Vermont Green taking on USL League 1 side Westchester SC out of Westchester County. I mean, what can you say? I mean, look at that. Nothing at all in regulation, nothing at all in extra time. Just a couple of yellow cards to both sides. Charlie Dickerson, 45th first half stoppage time. Kyle Evans, 69th minute. For Vermont Green, they came late, 76th minute. Luca Nicola, and second half stoppage time. Nikos Clark Tozak. And then it goes to the penalty kicks. And Vermont Green, unfortunately, could not do anything. And it was just tremendous, just absolutely tremendous. Moving on. Andrew Miller got stopped. Connor McGlynn. Now, yes, that's Jack McGlynn's brother. So that was 1-0 for Westchester. Then 1-1 after 2 rounds. Alexander Hall scored. Alexei Armas was stopped. Igor Akulov scores. Daniel Burko scores. It's 2-2 through 3. Riley Maloney scores. Cohen Blomenston, he got stopped. It's 3-2 for Vermont in the fourth round. Mitch Baker gets stopped in the 5th round. Ermin Makic, he makes it 3-3. You get to Connor Miller. Not a great penalty, but he got stopped. And it was Brian Vasquez who got the winning penalty to make it 4-3 for Westchester SC. They're moving on to the third round, and that is all she wrote. Vermont Green, once again, looked dangerous, looked great, just couldn't get that one goal they needed like in the last match. They couldn't get that goal to push them through either in regulation or extra time. I wouldn't say there was a lot of shenanigans in this one, but you know what? New England versus New York State. Yeah, it's still a battle no matter what. But still, though, Vermont Green over in Burlington, Vermont. Fantastic stuff over there. Mount Vernon, New York, obviously. Westchester County. First county north of the Bronx in New York City. So great job by them. And it should be a fun one when we get to the third round. Once again, we'll get to that in just a moment. But it's really something special when you watch these games, and especially these penalty kick shootouts, because you don't know what's going to happen. The hope is you keep your nerve and you find a way to bury that ball and you move on into the next round. That's all you have to worry about. You just move on into the next round. But, until then, obviously, we'll see what happens when this third round pops up. But once again, great action in the Open Cup. Just a lot of fun things to see. And, we'll show you some more here. We'll show you a little more, obviously. further on. But once again, those results in the second round was just amazing to watch. And once again, the results were unbelievable. Show it to you again here. Once again, we had about one, we had two, and we had three games in this round that went into the extra time session. Charlotte Independence has really been a strong side recently going into the Open Cup, at least as far as the third round. We've seen them go to the fourth round and unfortunately fall in the fourth round. And but Charleston Battery, they have been a darn good side during Open Cup matches. I've seen them get to the final a long time ago against DC United. And, they've had their moments. New Mexico United had their moment, of course, going deep into a match, into a tournament, I should say, under Troy Lesane at the time. There are times you think Orange County was going to do it. We all know about Sacramento Republic. They'll always get a run going. They're always going to show that they're one of the best sides in USL, and they're always dangerous. They're always tough to face against. And once again, it's just a situation where these clubs in the lower divisions, who's the best of the best. You know who those teams are. And all you got to do is be ready to play them and be ready to take them on and to take them out if you can. Obviously, you had a couple of games here that you had clubs in the same league face each other, like San Antonio FC against FC Tulsa, obviously. But once again, it's just one of those situations where hopefully you will see some great action in these Open Cup games. Occasionally, you get a laugher. Occasionally, you get a tight one. But if you get one that's off the chains and off the hook and it got cannonballs exploded because the soccer balls are going into the net all over the place by both teams, you got yourself a barn burner. And that's what you really want to see. You really want to see action in these games. It's just a lot of fun. It's just filled with fun and happiness. And, that's what you love to see. You want to see great matches. Now, obviously, for some of you wondering, why do I go on Twitter and why do I share the broadcaster's Twitter handle? Well, this is why. These people, they do this for a living. And yeah, you don't see them on Apple. If you're a USL fan, you'll see them on ESPN. Maybe you'll see them on CBS Sports Golazo. I'll mostly hear them, but occasionally you'll see them. And obviously the main broadcast duo, the number one duo, is, of course, Mike Watts and Devin Kerr. So, I want to recognize these people like, once again, Mike Watts, Devin Kerr, Joe Malfa, Ricky Lopez Espin, John Appel, Son St. Jacques, of course, Lloyd Sam, everyone that does these broadcasts, they deserve a round of applause and your gratitude for what they have done. It's not just that they have the knowledge of USL clubs and both professional leagues, and occasionally maybe they do a USL League 2 game, you never know. But, the jobs that they do, the hard work they put into it is just unbelievable. And all I'm trying to do is show them gratitude. That's all I want to do. I want to show them gratitude for their hard work and what they are capable of doing when they do these broadcasts. And it's just amazing, and it's exciting, and it's a lot of fun. But you know what? This is also a lot of fun when you have a rivalry, a derby. And let's get into it right now, because joining me right now, the winners of this, once again, heralded derby between New Mexico United and El Paso Locomotive, the broadcaster for El Paso Locomotive, Duke Keith joining me right now. Duke, welcome back.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, they did it again. They went to enemy territory and they blasted them off the pitch.
Daniel, I can see you. I cannot hear you. So I don't know exactly what the deal. Can you hear me? Okay, that's good. Yeah. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but talking about the Locomotive versus New Mexico United game, I mean, I cannot recall a game Locomotive had dominated, especially against New Mexico United, quite like that. That was an amazing display by Junior Gonzalez's squad, and you saw every piece working well. Rubio Rubin scored another goal, as he did versus Laredo in the opening round of the Open Cup. Of course, Alex Mendez, just an absolutely world-class free kick that really, I've rarely seen kicks like that. It's a world-class level because it was from 30 yards out. And you just saw the left foot. If you see the replay, you can see the bend of the ball. All of a sudden, it just hooks back like it's going one way. The keeper moves to his left, thinking it's going to go far post for him. And it comes back near post and tucks in. One of the most amazing free kicks I've ever seen. Only wish I'd been there to see it live. That would have been amazing. But 4-0, and every piece really working for Locomotive. Omar Mora, who is an El Paso kid, doesn't get a lot of starts in league play. And Omar Mora goes to the byline, pulls in a beautiful outside of the foot chip back to Alvaro Quesada. And Quesada just, all he had to do was tap it in. And yeah, I mean, there you see the line and exactly what happened during it. Alvaro Quesada scores in the first half. Locomotive scores another 3 after New Mexico, and Usman Jabang gets the red card. And it was all El Paso. Eric Calvillo with a lucky shot. I mean, you see a celebration. He's like, hey, man, I hit it. It went in. And it was just a one-time knock to the far post, and then it goes. So very special evening for Locomotive FC. And Junior Gonzalez, as you might imagine, is very proud of his team and has also commented specifically about Locomotive's opportunity in the next round versus Houston Dynamo, saying that this is a team that can really make some things happen if they put their mind to it. They wanted the opportunity to face MLS competition. They have earned the opportunity to face the Houston Dynamo April the 15th.
Absolutely. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I still can't hear you. I apologize, but
no, that's okay.
Yeah, I think just in terms of what Junior Gonzalez has been able to do insofar as what Locomotive has had this season in league play, I mean, you want to talk about, I don't think there's been a debut quite like it. I know Locomotive went 6 matches unbeaten, I believe at the start of the 2021 campaign, and then later on had another 7-match unbeaten streak. So Locomotive is already at that 6-match undefeated streak in all competitions and ready to go for more. And of course, Locomotive under Mark Lowry was that 2021 team. Mark Lowry didn't get a win in the Open Cup. Like that didn't happen until last season with Wilmer Cabrera. And now, of course, Junior Gonzalez, who has Locomotive successfully through the first 2 rounds and into the third. So just a special accomplishment already. And this is a team that's hungry for more. Noah Dolenmeyer, I think, troublingly took a knock in that first half, had to be replaced. But when you have the likes of Kofi Tumasi, I think they really wanted to give Tumasi a rest. And hopefully are able to do that a bit now with a week off roughly until their next game in Hartford. But having that kind of depth and really having the structure, Junior Gonzalez has done such a great job with the structure of Locomotive FC in that the center backs who aren't, you're talking about Palermo Ortiz, who's 33, Tony Alfaro, who's into his 30s, Kofi Tumasi he's still 20-something, can still get it done. Obviously, Eastern Conference champion with Rhode Island a couple of seasons ago before he came to El Paso. He's got some legs to him, but not a lot of guys, they aren't the speediest of bunches is what I'm trying to say. And the way Junior Gonzalez has set up the structure of this Locomotive team, it has not mattered. Like they've been able to absorb a lot of the pressure before the center backs have to deal with stuff and turn the ball over. They're not necessarily a really hard pressing team, but the pressure works. They turn the ball over. They do very well in possession. I will say that Las Vegas Lights gave them all they can handle, but this was a team that had played its third match in 7 days and was very, very tired. Just looking at the players after the match, you could tell that. And happy to get a rest, I think, going into next week in Hartford. But then right back into the fire. Hartford Saturday, at Houston for the second round of the Open Cup on Wednesday. And then, of course, home versus San Antonio that next Saturday. So very active schedule again. And this will be the third stretch of matches, 3 matches in a week for Locomotive already. So a lot of miles in this tread so far, and we'll see if Locomotive can hang tough, Daniel.
Absolutely. Can you hear me now? Is it much better? Can you hear me now? No?
No audio, I'm afraid. I see you shaking your head. I still can't hear you, but I'm glad you can hear me. I could talk a little bit about Locomotive, that's for sure. I think just in terms of what this team is able to accomplish, you've got guys who've been in Major League Soccer, and Rubio Rabin had a pretty solid year with Real Salt Lake a couple of years ago. Alex Mendez, I think, has made appearances. Obviously, Tony Alfaro won MLS Cup with Seattle in 2018. So they've got MLS caliber players. And then Palermo Ortiz came from Ciudad Juarez and Juarez Bravos, which is Locomotive's sister team just across the border in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. And this is a dude who represented the Mexican national team, got a cap with his nation's team, a man from Monterrey, Mexico. So there's quality on the pitch. And I think one of the things that's really, really shown under Junior Gonzalez this year is Locomotive's ruthlessness. They've been very, very effective in front of goal. When they've had the opportunity to put the ball away, they make the most of those opportunities. And of course, Dynamo, it is a different level because every player there is MLS quality. And we'll see if Locomotive can get that job done. But I think they're very much looking forward to the opportunity to prove themselves on a big stage. And we'll all be able to watch it on Paramount Plus and the Golazo Network. I think it's going to be a fun Wednesday evening come April the 15th.
So,
okay.
Type to you.
Well, I'm using my phone is what I'm using to talk to you with. So I apologize for that. I do have a watch. If you want to send a text, go ahead. I might be able to get it via my Apple Watch, but and I may see it here. So go ahead, fire away.
I'm gonna text it to you. Yep. I'm gonna text it to you right now. What difference
we'll see if it shows up.
Oh, I hope it should. It should. I hope so. Yeah.
Take care.
Exactly. What?
Let's see.
It's going to be a good one, folks. I promise. It's definitely going to be a good one.
I'm not quite sure why this isn't working, but
change.
Yeah, I'm just happy. I'm happy you can hear me.
Sure, I can hear you loud.
That's 2/3 of the battle right there.
See you.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, no problem. I can hear you.
No,
I can
it's
see
not
you.
working.
No, all right. Hold on one second.
What
difference has the coaching change brought to the Locomotive
I don't know what's what.
that can help them take out the Dynamo?
The wonders of live technology. There we go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. What differences is the coaching change brought to Locomotive that can help take out the Dynamo? Well, okay. Changes, and it's interesting because at the beginning of the season, Junior Gonzalez was very upfront in that not a lot. He's very familiar with Wilmer Cabrera, having coached under Cabrera at different stages, especially I know when Wilmer was head coach of Dynamo and Junior Gonzalez was coach of RGV Toros, which was a part of the Dynamo system, just, kind of at the latter stages of that USL MLS connection. So he was very familiar with the way Wilmer ran his business and likes that philosophy. So not a whole lot has changed. I would say, the ruthlessness aspect is one of the things that we've really seen this season as opposed to last season. Locomotive is just, they've been on top of it. And even though this is a team that finished 4th in the Western Conference and earned a home playoff match, they were really kind of tapering off near the end of last season. And of course, we're nowhere near fall. I mean, USL MLS campaigns are pretty long, running from early March to, on into November, and of course MLS into December sometimes. But I think that even though we've only got a small sample size from this season, the ruthlessness, I would say the idea, what I've seen on the pitch, and what's really impressed me is the fact that when Locomotive is in possession, there is an idea about where they move the ball next. And I'll tell you that the guy who really impressed me, Opie sees this at some point, Richie Ryan, who was the number six, the defensive midfielder for Locomotive, was really the engine along in that double pivot of Mark Lowry that kind of drove the bus. Always had an idea, always knew what he wanted to do with the ball next. And I see that with just about every player on the pitch. There is an idea about where the ball needs to go, what that next move is before it's made. And that is familiarity with the players on the pitch. And that's what I've seen so far. And your next question about Rubio Rubin, is he that next piece? Is he the missing link for Locomotive to kind of advance? I would say yes, with the caveat that Armando Moreno has now equaled Rubio Rubin in terms of 4 goals scored in the championship, and has also been very effective this year. I think he's been he was kind of taking knocks and at the beginning of, I guess, over the last few months has really undertaken a program, a regime of taking better care of himself, eating better, taking better care of his body as he gets into his 30s as well. And I think that that's kind of shown itself on the pitch for Armando Moreno. So the two-headed dragon up front is, that's a wonderful thing to have. And I would also say, don't slouch. Alex Mendez is no slouch. Alex Mendez is a guy who has been brought in from Tampa Bay and really just fit right into the Locomotive system. So those 3 up front have been very dangerous. But yeah, Rubio Rubin is, the man's quality. He is really, really something else. And we've enjoyed watching him play and look forward to plenty more. And hopefully everybody stays healthy. I think that's the main thing. It's a long season and USL doesn't have quite the depth of an MLS squad. And, you worry about players taking knocks through the year. But just the quality on the ball. The goal he scored, if you want to look it up, look at the goal he scored versus Monterrey. Beautiful pass by Mendez to open him up, first of all, but just at the edge of the 6-yard box, takes a volley off his chest and swivels and fires it full volley, far post. That's quality. I haven't seen that since Lucho Solignac, who's another great former Locomotive and San Antonio's player for San Antonio FC. So, yeah, I think Locomotive fans are very, very pleased to watch Rubio Rubin do his thing.
Almost done here with my next question for
He's
Duke.
Been
Almost
extra
done.
Impressive, but I think really the sheer duties, they've been so effective up front and really putting away their chances. But Rubin, I think, he's very much the catalyst in what's gone on, along with Armando Moreno. What worries me about the Dynamo for the 3rd round? The fact that they're an MLS squad. I think, Ache is there. Hector is pretty good. He's returned to the Houston Dynamo lineup. And you're talking about a squad full of players. Top to bottom, it's, on paper, it's a better roster. But you play the games on the pitch and you see what happens. And I think Locomotive, of all the teams out of the USL Championship, has an outstanding opportunity to have one of those cup sets, one of those USL over MLS cup sets. Now, it's if you're laying odds, well, you're laying odds on the Houston Dynamo to win that match because they should. Yep. And I think that's, if there's any particular thing, it's that those guys know, what they're doing and the fact that they are an MLS squad. And do I rate Locomotive as having a chance? One of the best, I think, out of the championship, just because of the way they play, the system they have in place, as well as the dead eyes up front, like Rubio Rubin and Armando Moreno this year, and Alex Mendez. Frankly, they share it around. They've been excellent so far in the season, and being able to put goals away. This was a team that scored more goals last year than any other Locomotive team since their inception in 2019, which was impressive. But again, it kind of tapered off. Traveling supporters group, there will be some. I know Houston is, it's amazing. People think, okay, this is kind of funny about Texas. we've been in Austin before, and people have dropped by and I've done some radio shows in Austin. Oh yeah, you're from El Paso? Yeah, maybe we'll just stop on by. No, not unless you're willing to get on the road for about 9 or 10 hours. It's equidistant, El Paso is, between Los Angeles and Houston. It is a 9 or 10 hour drive. And I know Locomotive is going to fly it. That's going to be good. But in terms of traveling supporters, there will be some. And the funny thing about it is, and I've seen this with in other sports with El Paso teams, specifically the University of Texas at El Paso, when they would play in Houston or Dallas or San Antonio, there were always El Pasoans in those cities. There have been a lot of transplanted El Pasoans who have gone and watched sporting events, wearing their UTEP garb. We see it with Locomotives sometimes when they show up in San Antonio, or with some of the other teams around Austin Bold back in the day. So yes, there will be some traveling supporters, and I think that there will probably be a good contingent of eighth notchers ready to head on down to the Bayou City for April the 15th. I think they're going to be pretty good. And I think just in terms of overall, I think it's going to be a pretty good match. That's what I'm hoping. If there's a bunch of early goals scored, then it can be pretty tough, especially if Houston Dynamo is the one scoring them. But the longer they can take this, I mean, Locomotive did win, or did lead. They didn't win, but they led 2-0 at Austin last year. The first time they'd faced MLS competition in the Open Cup, led 2-0 at Austin, and Austin had to bring in the ringers for Austin FC, and they pulled out the 3-2 win. I mean, they've got the quality. That's what it was expected, and they did what was expected. But I think this year they're that much better, Locomotive is. So yeah, I rate them pretty highly. I think it's going to be a good match. It's probably going to be what I'm hoping is one of the better matches of the third round.
Me too. Absolutely. Hey, Duke, thank you again for joining me tonight. Hope to get that microphone bug fixed.
Next time, man. Next time. I don't know if it's my headphones or something, but I appreciate you having me on, and thanks for the opportunity, buddy. Take care. We'll see you next
Absolutely.
time.
Take care, Duke. And that's Duke Keith, broadcaster for El Paso Locomotive, locally in the El Paso area. Look, hopefully we'll get that situation fixed. It's either my end, his end, don't know, but hopefully we'll get that situation fixed. And but still, it was great to have Duke Keith on the show. Love to have asked him all those questions. Unfortunately, I had to go through the old-fashioned way. I had to text it to him. That's why you saw me going like this, because got to make sure that we get this questions going out there for him and everything. So hopefully everything will be fixed up for next time. Other matches were played, obviously, in this Open Cup round, this second round proper, as we go ahead and take a look at some of these other games, especially the one that I liked, that I thought was really done and dusted in this one, but it didn't really happen that way. And that is, of course, Colorado Springs Switchbacks taking on Spokane Velocity. And this was a match. Yes, I know I made a little error right there. I know. I can't help it. But, that big goal in the final minute of the first half regulation was huge by Talon Maples. And I thought this one was going to be over. I didn't think Spokane had anything in the tank. I thought it was all over and done with. And then we get to the 87th minute, and it's Andrew Booth with a snap header, leaping up, snapping it in, and we're leveled at 1, and nothing in between in extra time, and we go straight to penalties. Great goalkeeping from Colorado Springs. Corey Bennett made it 1-0. Anuar Pelaez was stopped. Adrian Perez made it 2-0. Simon Fitch was stopped. The goal scorer could not convert as he hit the post and out to make it 2-0 still in the third round. Mark Hernandez scored to make it 2-1. Yosuke Hanya makes it 3-1. And then it would be Andre Lewis making it 3-2. but it would be Saddam Masareka. He gets the winning penalty to make it 4-2, and it was all over but the shouting over in downtown Colorado Springs at Widener Field. And of course, if you are a New York Red Bull supporter, you do remember that fourth round match between them and Colorado Springs Switchbacks. Mohamed Sofo with a pair of goals. 2 other goals were scored to make it 4-0. It should have been 4-0, but it ended as 4-1. But still, though, what you can say is Colorado Springs will always bring it. They will always be around to bring it to you and battle you all night long. They will go after you. They will go against you. They will find a way to stop you. And of course, let's not forget they did win USL Championship 2-3 years ago, I believe it was. That big victory over Rhode Island FC. But once again, that was an amazing battle between Colorado Springs Switchbacks and Spokane Velocity. So, excellent stuff, excellent work. And it's another great match that we had in the U.S. Open Cup. Once again, it's just been a lot of big games, a lot of fun matches, and, you just try to enjoy them as much as you can. Really, really amazing stuff. And, you just want to see great soccer, great football happening. And, we just want to see what's going to happen. And, we'll show you one more before we get over to what we're going to be heading off to. Just hang on one second, because I know I have it here on file. Just there. Yep, there it is. Yep, there we go. So this is one of those games where you had San Antonio FC hosting FC Tulsa. And, I was thinking we're going to get another scoreless match in the Open Cup, and we were going to go and get some really, really tough games, and it was scoreless throughout through the opening 90 minutes. And then we get to extra time, and then the screwiness comes out of nowhere. Akeem Ward, as you can see, 64th minute, got his first yellow card, and then in the first half of extra time in the 97th minute, he gets his second yellow, becomes red, and he is donezo, out of the game. So another one of those games where you have second yellow, turns to red, and you're gone. And then you have Remy Cabral for FC Tulsa on the road, the finalists of last season's USL Championship final. Gets the only goal in the 106th minute. And FC Tulsa, they advance to the third round, and they are off and running. And it's just one of those moments. It's just exciting and fun. And you love to see it. You love to see these games come up big for, for all these people. Just a lot of fun and a lot of excitement. And it's just been tremendous moving on. So, once again, these are the Open Cup games that are exciting and fun and enjoyable. And I love it too. We can bring up those results one more time. We'll talk about them. Flint City Bucks fell 1-0 to Detroit City FC. Give great credit to the Bucks. They really tried their hardest to get the win, to get the victory, and they just couldn't do it, unfortunately. They just could not do it. But, they worked hard. They worked hard and they gave every ounce of effort to either take the lead early or to find that equalizer and to try and challenge Detroit City FC. But Detroit City, they're also one of those top clubs in USL Championship that have done so well in American soccer. Of course, we remember they started NPSL, made the move to Nissa, and then after their short stint in Nissa, they would go straight to USL Championship. And now, of course, they're building a stadium, and it's just absolutely fantastic. Valley 559 FC. What are you going to do? Sacramento Republic is just too powerful, too strong, and they really are one of the class clubs in USL Championship. Sometimes I don't think it matters who's on the club or who's coaching. I think if you have a mentality to go out there and to battle and to do great things, you're going to do great things. So, it's just one of those things where I believe that you really have to have an exciting and an intriguing game plan, not so much to defeat Sacramento Republic. You got to neuter them, and you got to neuter them the way you know how and on the football pitch. So all you got to say is that it's just one of those things where, you can't keep on going like this. And you just have to say that for for Sacramento Republic, they're going to go back deep into the third round. Now, obviously, looking at this, Virginia Dream, I would, Asheville City, Tennessee Tempo, and who else is in the lower division as we're looking? Flint City Bucks, of course. I think that John Mata Cup for next year, I think that John Mata Cup is going to Asheville City. I mean, if Asheville City, because at least, well, it's not just them, but of course, Vermont Green also went deep as well, but there were no goals in regulation. So maybe that's an advantage. Or the amount of penalties converted is an advantage. So I would say either Vermont Green or Asheville City SC. One of those two will go and win the John Mata Cup and get automatic qualification for 2027. I think that's what we're going to get. I think it's going to be one of those two. Because, I mean, if the goals in regulation is the advantage, then I think Asheville City goes. If it's a better, I guess, 6 rounds of a penalty kick shootout, then maybe Vermont Green goes. But, there's a lot of question marks here, and, we'll find out later on and who has what. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But, once again, this is where you have to say, this is where, the excitement is with these games in the Open Cup. It is just absolutely tremendous to see what has happened and how everything has been, coming around and all this. So let's go ahead and let's give out the schedule now for round 3, because we're going to go ahead a little early, obviously. But I want to get this done, to be honest with you, because my next guest will be coming in a little bit later tonight, very soon, about 15, 20 minutes or so, coming from the West Coast. And here it is right now. This is match day 1 for round 3 for Tuesday, April the 14th. And here they are right now at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, this is a crazy one. This is a crazy one because the New England Revolution are hosting Rhode Island FC. But for the Revolution, their home game is at the stadium that's home to Rhode Island FC. So they'll be in Pawtucket as an alternate site hosting. And isn't it strange and funny how the Revolution, they're the ones that'll be the host team, and it's not their stadium. It's Rhode Island's stadium, Rhode Island FC stadium. So that's a crazy one. That's the crazy one. I can't believe it. I honestly cannot believe it, and we'll see what happens moving forward. But it should be exciting. You can watch that on Paramount Plus. At 7 p.m. Eastern Time, it will be Louisville City taking on Austin FC, streaming on Paramount Plus, but you can watch that one on CBS Sports Network. The next one at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Detroit City FC taking on the Chicago Fire at Keyworth Stadium. CBS Sports Galazzo Network and streaming on Paramount Plus. Westchester SC up in Mount Vernon will be taking on New York City FC, depending on which side of New York they'll be in, either in the Bronx or in Queens, depending on which ballpark they want to play in. It will be at the Mount Vernon Athletic Complex, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Paramount Plus streaming. Colorado Springs Switchbacks will be hosting Sporting Kansas City, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. And that will be also streaming Paramount Plus. And then the double headers, of course, at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Colorado Rapids hosting Union Omaha, CBS Sports Network and streaming on Paramount Plus. And then at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, Sacramento Republic will be hosting against Minnesota United FC. And that one, CBS Sports Galazzo Network and on Paramount Plus. And then on Wednesday, April the 15th, this is something interesting that they're going to do. They've done it before in the past in the later round, but they never did it in an earlier round. But here it is. And I think you know what it is, obviously. It's the Galazzo show. The Galazzo show. And if you can see right there, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches that will be seen on the Galazzo Network on the Galazzo show. So it will be a whip around show, but you'll have the first match of the day on CBS Sports Network. And then when the Galazzo show is over, CBS Sports Galazzo will have the only late nighter on the day. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But here is the schedule for Wednesday, April 15th. That's match day 2. FC Naples will be hosting Orlando City at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Chattanooga FC will be hosting Atlanta United, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Richmond Kickers hosting the Columbus Crew at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Red Bull New York hosting the Pittsburgh Riverhounds at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Also at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Charlotte FC versus Charlotte Independence, MLS versus USL League One. The Charlotte City derby, the Queen City Derby. It's going to be exciting and fun. Well, excuse me. DC United hosting One Knoxville SC over at Audi Field, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. At 8 Eastern, 7 Central. St. Louis City SC taking on FC Tulsa. Houston Dynamo taking on El Paso Locomotive, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. And then finally, at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, San Jose Earthquakes hosting Phoenix Rising FC. Exciting games all over the place. We have ourselves a heck of a schedule. Draw was completed last week on Thursday, April the 2nd on CBS Sports Galazzo Network's Morning Footy. Ali Trost Martin, I should say, once again, doing the draw. And it was a lot of fun to see and a lot of fun to watch her get involved. I'm jealous. Now, granted, it's not usually what you're normally used to, because it's mostly the draw for who will get hosting priority for the fourth round, which I think it's ridiculous. Once again, I think we have to get rid of that. But look, until someone comes up with a better idea, of course, I've had a couple of better ideas myself about the Open Cup. I just think it's just ridiculous. So we shouldn't have to do that. I just think that regional blind draws will be a lot better. You stay within your region, and then when you get to the semifinals, obviously West will be facing the Central, East will be facing the South, and it should be really interesting to watch and exciting to see. So, look, we'll see what happens down the road. We'll see what the situations are. But until then, we're right now getting ready for, of course, those third round matches that will be played on Tuesday, April the 14th and Wednesday, April the 15th. So a lot of fun, a lot of excitement, and just keep it on going and keep it on trucking here. Open Cup Round 2 review show, and hopefully Miami, their new stadium, NU Stadium will be ready to go. Give Gift Nadam and his Tennessee Tempo side a lot of credit. Facing Chattanooga FC, had that opportunity to do the Tennessee double or to do the Chattanooga double, just couldn't do it against FC as they knocked out the Red Wolves. But the Red Wolves, to me, so far, look like a team that's ready to go and probably challenge everyone in the Western Conference to go out there and do some damage. So it should be exciting, should be a lot of fun, and hopefully we will enjoy ourselves with these third round matches. Once again, you can watch everything streaming on Paramount Plus or you can watch those selected matches on either CBS Sports Network or on CBS Sports Galazzo. So it should be a lot of fun. Oh my goodness. I know, why so far apart? Look, you try to invite as many people as you can, and sometimes they're not able to come, and it's a little too late. Maybe I should have made this on a Tuesday instead of a Monday, but look, for now, this is what it is. And maybe I'll switch the days around. And hey, look, I can fix my own Open Cup issues. I wish I could fix the Open Cup issues, but I can't. I'm only one person. I can just give ideas and tell the Open Cup committee, you want to read this? What do you think? What you're going to do about it? And when they tell you, it's done. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. But it's not done. It's not done at all. You have to go out there and you have to battle. Just being there is not enough. The National Championship of American Soccer, the U.S. Open Cup. But once again, when will this cup competition finally get the respect that it deserves? When? And that's why I'm still here, and that's why I'm still fighting. I'm still fighting for clarity, for common sense, and for just making sure a station looks good. I had a long day today, a very, very long day. That's why I'm here talking about the Open Cup, because I love it. I love this cup competition. And once again, this is a perfect setup for me. TV, CBS Sports Network. My computer screen in front of me. Obviously, you can't see my computer screen, but this is where the camera is. It's in front of my computer screen. I have a game up there. I'll have a game over there. I have CBS Sports Galaza Network over here on the corner there, and then I'll have something around here for from Twitter. Also, I keep my own scorecard. I do. I keep my own scorecard. You know what I do? I'll tell you what I do. I put down at least maybe 14, 15, 16 lines or boxes. So I do on the top, who's the home side, who's the road side, their score. And then everything going down in the middle, I'll have a big box for the goal scorer or yellow card, red card, who took a penalty and converted it or didn't convert it. I'll do a little own goal thing. And then, of course, yellow card, red card. You go into extra time. You go into a penalty kick shootout. You have to change those colors up around. Here's something that for those of you that want to keep track of Open Cup scores. Excuse me. Sorry about that. This is what I suggest you should do. Watch the game. Make sure you're watching on the computer or on the TV. And you move the mouse around or the little writing box around, and wherever your that specific team is, you type up the name of the person, and then in the other box is the time they scored the goal, the time that they got the yellow, the time they got the red, or the time they got ejected. And then when you get to when you watch these games, then you can study how you're going to write it and what the situation is. So that's a lot. It's pretty good to do stuff like that. It's pretty cool. I love doing all these things. I enjoy talking about what's going on, and it's just a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun, a lot to talk about, and just a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun to talk about and have fun. That's all it is. Just to talk about it, have fun with it, and hopefully next time I'll get some more guests on. It's tough to just get two guests. You really want to give everyone the opportunity to come on this show to talk about something that you didn't think they're going to do, and they should have, take advantage of it. But it's going to be exciting, and no, I just can't wait. Cannot wait to talk more Open Cup. Hopefully, my next guest will be joining me very, very shortly, all the way on the West Coast in the desert of America, in the state of Arizona. So that should be exciting. I can't wait to hear what he has to say. And hopefully it's not my mic. I'm hoping it's not my microphone. Maybe I have to listen to make sure that it is my microphone. But let me see. There's the settings. I'm trying to move my camera here. And I'm right there. Hang on. So we do the microphone settings here. Hopefully it's not my microphone. Camera, nope. Audio, yep. Audio. Let's see here. Yep. I'm going fine. Everything's good. Everything's good. Good. All right. So everything's fine. My microphone is working. That's a good thing, obviously. Yeah. But as we go back here and talk about, of course, um, Rhode Island, another New England matchup between Rhode Island FC and Hartford Athletic. Obviously, Rhode Island was always going to best Hartford. As Hartford is a good team, but when you play a team that really wants to be, though that team to lead New England to the promised land, they're always going to find a way to go out there and just battle hard. That's them. That's Rhode Island FC. That's what they try to do. And, they got a good head coach. They have some good trainers. So it should be really, really interesting to watch what's going to happen. And, I cannot wait to see what will happen when we get to that third round. So, we'll just have to wait and see. Other games, Indy 11, unfortunately, fell to Union Omaha, but, don't assume, that's an aw shucks moment. No, look, Union Omaha is a two-time USL League One champion. They are always a tough club to play against. They got tough players. So, just a lot of fun things going forward. I was thinking of it. I don't know why I was doing that. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Overthinking things. Can't do that. Never done that before. But, I'm going to turn 53. I'm getting old. Going to get old. Going to start heading for the rocking chair one of these days. But, what are you going to do? You might doze off. I try not to doze off on air. I don't want to do that. So I apologize about that. Didn't mean for that to happen. But, when, you're getting up there in age and it might be time very soon. You never know. But, hey, look, I like to make fun of myself. If you can't make fun of yourself, we can make fun of. But anyway, that's what it is, folks. Trying to make sure that everything looks good and looks fantastic. And once again, we'll have my next guest on very soon in about a minute or two, I believe. About 2 minutes. My next guest will be an analyst for Phoenix Rising. That'll be Mr. Joseph Lowry. Can't wait to have him on. First time ever having someone that covers or calls a game for Phoenix Rising here. Try to get people who do cover the club on here because, I want to give them the opportunity. But look, sometimes they don't want to take the initiative and, if they're probably camera shy or something, or they feel, they don't want to be on camera. That's fine. Look, I'm not here to berate them on camera if they don't want to be on. Look, I understand, not everyone's cut out for this sort of stuff. So you got to have the mind of a lunatic if you want to host a show like this. And I'm certified. No, I'm just joking around. But anyway, this is what you sign up for. This is what you sign up for. This is what you try to do to talk about the game in this country. You try to get as many people as you can to be a part of this and to tell them, look, if you're free, you want to join in, please. We'd love to have you on to talk about the match. And so far, it's been pretty good. It's been pretty good and very, very exciting to talk about all these games going on in American soccer, including the U.S. Open Cup. Okay, my next guest tonight, he is the analyst for Phoenix Rising FC, local analyst. This is Mr. Joseph Lawrence, and he joins me right now. Joe, thank you. Joe Lowry, I apologize. Joe, thank you for your time. And how are you tonight?
Daniel, no problem. First of all, and I'm great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you for taking the invitation. I'm glad to have you on. Phoenix Rising heads over to Irvine, California, and does the impossible and knocks off Orange County SC in their backyard. What was that match like for you?
Yeah, I mean, this was another in a series of close games against Orange County that Phoenix Rising have played. Even already this season, there was a 1-1 draw out in my neck of the woods earlier on in the regular season. Orange County have played a lot of low-scoring games. Phoenix is still kind of yet to sort out a lot of things about how the finer details about how they want to play. And so there have been a lot of low-scoring games between those two teams and between other teams that they played so far in the regular season. It was tight. It was not the most glamorous game, but ultimately Phoenix are fine with that because they advance.
You know, I have to ask you about head coach Papamudo Ka. What has he done to put Phoenix Rising into these positions where they are able to capitalize and take advantage of their opponents?
Yeah, I mean, this season really has still been a big work in progress where Phoenix are still winless in the USL Championship regular season. Their only non-extra time win was over a not fully for professional team in San Ramon earlier in the US Open Cup. So I think it's a little early, frankly, for some of those things. This has been a real growing experience for Phoenix Rising with Pamadou Ka coming in ahead of last season. He's still, I think, looking in some ways to find his identity, whether that is exactly how they want to progress the ball or whether that's how they want to press in the specifics there. One thing we do know is that this Phoenix team has been more aggressive this year than last year. They've been one of the most aggressive pressing teams in the USL Championship. That seems like a clear dictation from Pamadou Ka down to his players. I think, though, a lot of the finer details about how this team wants to go about its business are still open to interpretation.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we saw out there. Yeah, a lot of yellow cards. I mean, is this normal for an Orange County Phoenix Rising match?
I think something to this extent, probably not. I mean, getting the extra 30 minutes towards the end of this game matters a lot, and you can see some of the cards that are distributed there as well. This was just a weird game, man. In some ways, it was the magic of the cup, where the goal that opens the scoring via Gunnar Studenhoft is a really difficult goalkeeping error from Alex Rando, and it's when playing out of the back goes very, very wrong. And that is the only goal of the game until you have Usman Silla scoring at the equalizer, as you see there in the 86th minute. And even then, it's against a ragtag Phoenix back line. And so there's just so many things that chopped and changed throughout this game. Definitely one of the spiciest games that I can remember for Phoenix Rising. And I think Orange County fans would probably say the same. I don't know that next time these teams meet, the next 10 times these teams meet, that they'll match this level of chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go to that. I mean, when have you ever seen the goalkeeper just absolutely flubs that ball and it just goes right by him? And you see Studenhoff, I mean, I'm assuming he's from Germany because, he's probably on the Autobahn like, ooh, I got to get that ball. And he just goes and takes it right to the open net.
There is a lot of Autobahn in Gunnar Studenhoff. He's a Cayman Islands international who came from Huntsville City, Nashville SC's MLS Next Pro team. Last year was his first professional season, scored 5 goals there in MLS Next Pro, has come into this Phoenix Rising team and not initially the starting striker and has sort of adopted that role early in the year. Physically, he's a specimen. I mean, he is as fast as any soccer player I've seen. Like, truly, I'm not even trying to be hyperbolic there. The reason why he's still at this level and was in Next Pro last year, is now in the second division this year, is that he still has a lot to work on the technical side of things. It turns out, though, if you're just gifted goals, that stuff doesn't really matter so much. And Gunnar Studenhoff took full advantage of this mistake from Alex Rando. It's been sort of a rough last couple of weeks, I suppose, for goalkeeping. There was a really high-profile Zach Steffen error on the Colorado Rapids 2-3 loss to Toronto FC over the weekend, where he's getting a back pass and it just goes right past him and ends up being an own goal. Really, really rough stuff. And Rando, of course, will want this one back.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. What goalkeeper doesn't want something like that back? Obviously, you can't have those. I mean, you saw Zach Steffen for Colorado Rapids at Toronto.
Yep.
How do you miss that one when it just floats right to your foot and you just miss it and it goes right into the net? I mean, you can't have that happen.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and I think that was a huge part of how this game was won. To state the very obvious, neither team really created chances in this game. I mean, the Silla goal was a nice one late in the game, and I think he's a very talented player. I don't know exactly how he fits into Danny Stone's first choice group, but I think he might when all is said and done this year. Really, really have enjoyed watching him over the last couple of seasons now. But there just wasn't a lot of juice in this game, and that's been pretty par for the course with both of these teams so far in this season, not just in this match, but in others as well. Phoenix Rising haven't done a sterling job of creating chances. That's been a bit of a lull for them so far this year. The final third play has been, I think, a real pain point for this Rising team in terms of finding the right looks, being patient enough to create them, but not stalling out. And Orange County, I think they're still trying to figure out how all the pieces fit together, whether that's Lion McKinnon, and he's the 9 now for this team, it looks like, and Zubak playing a little bit wider, or you have Marcelo Palomino coming into this group as the new number 10, and how do he and Chris Haggard operate with each other? Still a lot of questions I think that Danny Stone is trying to solve for in a way that Phoenix Rising are kind of going through themselves right now.
Mm-hmm. And let's talk about that big extra time goal, obviously. Alexander Vukovic, wow, right place at the right time, how he got that ball in there in the 95th minute. That was tremendous. I was watching it. I was like, wait a second, where did he come from? And he puts it in.
Yeah, Vukovic has come up now in both of the Rising Open Cup games. He scored a goal against San Ramon in the first round, gets a goal in this game as well. Vukovic is an interesting player, very, very talented, but also older than maybe you'd think for a player playing his first professional season. He's 25 years old, coming out of college, was at Duke last year, previously with Marshall, a big part of Marshall's success when they made the run all the way to the College Cup final. He is a player who is talented in the air, physically impressive, and is a very, very clever passer where he is able to break lines with his distribution, can hit really nice, long diagonal switches, but he's still very raw. And you can tell he's adapting to the speed of the professional game. He's been sort of thrust into minutes for this Phoenix Rising team because they've been missing Pat Marboy, the team's best individual defender due to an injury. Rafa Chius has been in and out of the lineup, the former Chicago Fire and Bundesliga center back who joined Rising last season. He's dealing with a little bit of an illness and had a little knock, it sounded like, before that. And so he's not really been a huge part of this team so far this season. And so it's been a very inexperienced center back duo of Adrian Pelayo, who I think is a very, very talented young player, 19 years old, and Vukovic. They've kind of been thrown to the wolves. And in this game, at least, a little bit of a different story against Sacramento. But in this game last week, I think they very much did the job.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You know, I have to say, I mean, I've seen a lot of Charleston Battery on the East Coast here of USL Championship. Obviously, Battery, Rowdies, also Detroit City. I've seen a lot of what's been going on in Rhode Island. What's it been like in Phoenix since coming into the USL Championship and being in the Western Conference? What are some of the positives or some of the negatives that right now that Phoenix has been doing during these past seasons? And up till now, as you said, they're not doing well in league play, but possibly Open Cup play, you could get on a run.
Yeah, I mean, San Jose is looming large, and they're red hot right now in Major League Soccer. So that's going to be fascinating to see how that match unfolds in the next round. As far as Phoenix in a more general sense, a lot of positives for this club. I mean, they have been one of the clubs in the USL Championship. They win the title in 2023, previously had set records and winning streaks and all these things. Didier Drogba playing for this club. I mean, they've accomplished things that really no other club in the USL Championship has, right? I think now what Phoenix Rising is grappling with a little bit is what's next? You know, it is the landscape has changed and Phoenix Rising has changed. They still really are looking for a permanent stadium solution. And the club will be the first people to tell you that, where right now they're in a modular stadium at a very, I think, useful location in Phoenix. It's quite easy for a lot of folks to get to, which is not easy to do in one of the most sprawling cities in the United States. But that land is not theirs. And who knows how long that stadium is going to be there and what comes next. And so that, I think, is a question that will dictate so much of what comes for Phoenix Rising. In terms of the sporting identity of the club, they've really shifted from the Drogba, Solomon Asante. I mean, one of the legends of the USL, no doubt about it. So, sort of from that era with these more proven, high-level players to a much more youth-centric model where you think about, I mean, even just looking at some of the names in this yellow card sheet on the screen, Jean-Eric Morceau is this young player who's come over from France in the lower divisions there. I mentioned Adrian Pelayo, just 19 years old. Vukovic, this first-year pro out of college. Tony Capatillo, a young Phoenix Rising Academy player. You run through the list of guys, and they are more youth-centric now, Phoenix Rising, than they've ever been, which comes with lots of pros and is a really good opportunity for a lot of young players. It also comes with this growing pains, and I think that's a little bit of where Rising is right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. But, you know, what's it going to be like for Modou Ka to take on a legend in American head coaching soccer facing Bruce Arena? I'm assuming this will be the first time that Phoenix will be facing San Jose in the Open Cup. You know, that man has done a lot, not just for a club, but also for country. I mean, is he licking his chops? Is he going to try and find a way to out-best one of the best in American soccer?
I think both of the coaches, both Modou Ka and Bruce Arena, would recognize that ultimately it's the players who decide the games, right? And that's where San Jose have a big edge. In terms of how Modou Ka is going to think about the matchup with San Jose, you know, the good thing for Phoenix Rising is that San Jose have a fairly standard recipe about what they want to do, right? There hasn't been a ton of tactical variance from Bruce Arena this year, and he's not always the biggest tinkerer, right? I mean, he's not necessarily going to chop and change a ton from one game to the next. And San Jose have been pretty consistent in their 4-4-2 block. They'll press at times, but they're not necessarily going to be up in your grill for the entirety of 90 minutes. They will be patient in the back at times, but they're a moderate sort of pragmatic team. And I think Phoenix will observe that because it's pretty clear on the tape. And that will be a bit of a help for them. But man, I think Phoenix Rising, they're going to have to be more compact in that game than they were against Orange County. They're going to have to try to take away space, even if it's not San Jose's first choice group, which I wouldn't expect it to be, frankly. Even if it's not, the depth and quality in this San Jose team is very, very real. There's a lot of athleticism in that group. There's some technical quality in midfield in that group as well. They're going to have to be careful, Phoenix, with how high they push, especially because the press has not been a strength for them to this point in the year. I think those are probably some of the things that Palmaduca is thinking about.
I agree with you there. And of course, for the stadium situation, look, I've been saying this for a long, long time. The infrastructure of American soccer is a must. Hopefully, Phoenix Rising will find land for a permanent stadium. I mean, to be honest with you, I thought that was the permanent stadium until you just told me now. So that's my hope, obviously, because we need stadiums to make the game better, not just, for our players, but for everyone involved, like from MLS, USL Championship, League One, League Two, all the way down. We got to have stadiums all over the country.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I don't think Rising would tell you any different. I mean, there is a beautiful thing that this game still finds a way to grow almost regardless of the context around it. But I think that has been a huge progress point for soccer in the U.S. over the last couple of decades is these permanent facilities that are being built that can sort of be tent poles for the community. And that's what Rising, I think, has done very, very well, is even despite the lack of a permanent home for them, they've managed to tap into the youth side of the game well. Like I was mentioning earlier, the academy is in a far, far better place now than it's ever been before. And that's not a unique story to Phoenix. I mean, it's a really special sort of moment that we're observing right now in American soccer. And I think Rising would absolutely love to have that permanent place that they can call home to then tap into the community even more.
Exactly. Joe, I will send you $10 in the PayPal jar for messing up your last name. No, I'm a man of my word. I'm also
No, it's all good. It is all good. It is not a problem.
All right. Thank you very much, Joe. And good luck against San Jose. Hopefully I'll have you back on. If not, hopefully I'll have you back on during the regular show season. But thank you again for joining me. Have a good night and good luck in the third round.
Daniel, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Joe Lowry, analyst of Phoenix Rising, joined us tonight. I want to thank my guests tonight, Duke Keith in El Paso, play-by-play broadcaster for the Locomotive, and right there, Joe Lowry, analyst of Phoenix Rising. My name is Daniel Feuerstein. Join me tomorrow night for a regular Feuerstein's Fire American Soccer Show. Thank you very much for watching me tonight. Hope you all enjoyed the show. And as always, please enjoy your football. Thank you. Take care. So long. Have a good night. And bye-bye for now. Have a good night, everybody.